Welcome back to another episode of the BJack 70 Show. I'm your host, Brandon Jackson, and it's Friday. Nothing to bet on, no football to bet on. So we're here to talk about some quarterbacks. What runs the NFL? Quarterbacks. Maybe defense if you're the Seattle Seahawks, but seemingly in every other part of the NFL, every other team, quarterback is paramount. So we're back to talk about quarterbacks. But before we get into that, just want to say thanks for being here. I appreciate you in advance for liking the video, subscribing to the channel, hitting that subscribe button, sharing the video, letting people know, getting the word out there. I appreciate you and I thank you in advance. So go ahead and do that. But let's talk about quarterbacks, and not only just quarterbacks in general, but specifically how many teams in the NFL going into the offseason need a quarterback. Just off the top of your head, how many do you think there are? How many teams you think need one? In my opinion, the number is 8. There's 8 teams that need a quarterback. How many are available? How many realistic options are there out there to start games at quarterback in 2026 that either will be free agents or are under contract, but their teams want to trade them, or are eligible to be drafted in the NFL draft? 4 or 5. So you can do the math. 8 teams need one. There's only about 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys that are available to varying levels of ability and availability. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Who are the teams that you think need a quarterback? I'm going to go through them here. I'm going to list them out here. First of all, the New York Jets. New York Jets absolutely need a quarterback. Absolutely 100% need a quarterback. Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, Brady Cook, not doing it. If Aaron Glenn wants to keep his job through 2026 into 2027, he's going to need to find an option at quarterback. The Miami Dolphins. Yes, the Miami Dolphins still technically have Tua Tagovailoa on their roster. Who knows? Who's to say he starts the season on their roster? Who says if he does stay in Miami, who's to say he starts week 1, even while healthy? Who's to say? The Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers reportedly are waiting on Aaron Rodgers to make a decision, and they will hold that spot for him. Don't think that's a good idea, but otherwise, if Aaron Rodgers retires, they'll need a quarterback. The Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns. I know how people feel about Shador, but it's not set in stone. It's not set in stone. He's an option to be their starting quarterback, but it's not set in stone. They don't have their locked down week 1 starting quarterback right now. The Indianapolis Colts. It would be Daniel Jones if he was healthy, but tore his Achilles pretty late in the season. We'll see how the rehab goes if he's able to get back, but I would bet on them having at least a different starting quarterback for week 1, at least to start the season. Minnesota Vikings. They can't run it back with just J.J. McCarthy. Cannot do it. Cannot happen. And I don't think it will happen. They can't do another year with Justin Jefferson not getting the targets, the quality looks, the passes that he needs, it just can't happen again. That team has talent, and it cannot be wasted by another J.J. McCarthy season. The Arizona Cardinals, similar to the Dolphins, they have a quarterback in Kyler Murray under contract. Who knows if he's going to be there? Who knows if he's going to get traded? I do know if he's on the roster, he's going to be the starter, but we don't anticipate him being on the roster. And then last but not least, the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons seemingly are going to get rid of Kirk Cousins, and Michael Penix Jr. was injured, had knee surgery to end the season. So his week 1 is in doubt. So there's 8 teams. There's 8 teams, varying levels of quarterback situations. And I know you're probably screaming at me, what about the Raiders? What about the Raiders? I'm not counting them because Mendoza should be looking for real estate in the greater Las Vegas area. So there's no chance or rhyme or reason that they don't take Mendoza. So they're good. They got it. They got it. So moving on to the quarterbacks that are available. Yeah, there's maybe like 4, 5, 6 guys with varying levels of, like I said, ability, availability, like availability as far as being able to get them or trade for them, ability, whether they're good enough to or not. So we'll start with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is, if you watch my video about who I think the next Sam Darnold will be, I think it's Kyler. I think it's Kyler because I know he's talented. I know he's supremely talented. Got the arm talent, the running ability, the agility. Yes, he's 5'11", 5'10", but his body type is one. I mean, yes, he does get injured, but it's not like he's a frail, short guy. He can make the throws. We've seen him have success in the NFL. Like, this isn't an unproven concept. We've seen him have success in the NFL, take the Arizona Cardinals to the playoffs. Yeah, they lost and got demolished by the Los Angeles Rams, but the Rams have been good ever since McVay and Stafford have been there. So that's really not surprising. Kyler is good. Kyler will be a good quarterback in this league for whatever the next team that picks him up is. And I stand on that. If there's some way to bet on that, would bet on that. I promise, excuse me, I promise he will be good in the NFL once he gets away from the Cardinals, because I thought him be good with the Cardinals. So Kyler's available. Are they going to cut him? Probably not. Seemingly would be a trade. I feel like the trade partners would be the Jets. Like, I feel like this would be a Jets thing to do. And I definitely don't want that as a fan of Kyler. Don't want him to end up as a Jet. But I could see that happening. I could see him ending up as a Steeler later in the offseason if, Rodgers pulls the trigger and goes ahead and retires. I could see him as a Steeler. Those are probably the main two. I don't see Miami because they got to deal with Tua. Don't see Atlanta or Indianapolis. I mean, maybe Minnesota. Maybe Minnesota if they wanted to shake things up a bit. But yeah, he's gonna get out of there, and he'll be good. I would love it for him to go to Minnesota work with Kevin O'Connell. I would love to see it, but I don't know if that's going to happen that way. So good luck to him wherever he ends up. Next up, next quarterback available, Tua Tagovailoa from the Miami Dolphins. Probably not going to be a Dolphin. I would say more. I would lean towards him not being a Dolphin than him starting the season with them. But I really don't know. I really don't know where, like, who takes that shot. Who wants that like, nobody wants that contract. He, it's possible he could get cut post June 1 designation, get the dead money split up, and he ends up somewhere else that way. But I just don't. Again, if you watch that Who's the Next Sam Darnold video, I'm not a believer in Tua. I don't think he's going to be a guy that resurrects himself in a different place. I just don't think he really has it, which is unfortunate because we know Alabama Tua had all the potential in the world, but just, over the course of some years, some injuries, some concussions, it's worn him down a bit, and I just don't think he has it anymore. He'll definitely be in the league. He'll be on a roster, but I don't necessarily see him being a very good starter anywhere else. So some teams could take a flyer, bring him in, let him work for the role, let him be the backup if you have an established starter. I mean, Tua would be an excellent backup for like an entrenched starter to have insurance. If you could get him for regular backup quarterback money and not at his current contract, it would be an excellent insurance policy for your quarterback. But otherwise, I don't like it. I don't like him as a starter. The next person, Malik Willis. Malik Willis will be available. He will be a free agent, so he'll be the easiest to go out here and pick up for a team. I think he's going to have a lot of suitors. All 8 of these teams should probably, put a call in just to make sure, feel it out, see what the contract demands are, see if it can work out. But Malik Willis is going to have a robust market. Cleveland, a lot of people have been talking about him as a Cleveland Brown. I don't necessarily see that happening. I see why people put 2 and 2 together, but I don't necessarily see that happening with Shedeur and Deshaun in the building still. And, to be fair, Dylan Gabriel's still in the building. You kind of got to shake that out like naturally. I feel like it's unfortunately Deshaun Watson is still there, still will probably play a factor going forward this season. Shedeur is there. I don't think you would want to bring Malik Willis into that room. And frankly, I don't know why Malik Willis would even sign up for that to be in this quarterback room. So don't necessarily see it there. He's the guy that could be a Jet. He's the guy that could be a Steeler. He's a guy that absolutely could end up as a Miami Dolphin, given that their head coach was the defensive coordinator on the Packers where he played. So he's definitely going to have a market. He could end up in Minnesota, like any one of these teams. Maybe, probably not Atlanta, probably not Indianapolis. Indianapolis has Malik Willis at home and Anthony Richardson. Atlanta is probably still committed to Michael Penix for another year once he gets healthy, just to see that through. But yeah, Malik Willis, he's gonna have a market. We haven't really had a good quarterback on the free agent market like this in a little bit. So it'll be interesting. And I say good quarterback, like he had a good few games worth of film this season, and people are so quarterback desperate that that'll be enough. That's enough for him to have a big market. So does he end up? Does he end up? I mean, if I had to bet, I'd probably. It feels more Miami Dolphins than New York Jet. Feels more Pittsburgh Steeler than Minnesota Viking. Um, Arizona is a team I just don't know. I have no capacity to understand what they might do. Um, just because I mean, I personally think they should just keep Kyler Murray if it was me, um, but yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. But if I had to guess from Malik Willis, I'd probably say a Dolphin. I'd probably say Miami. Um, Going into the draft, like I said, Mendoza's going to the Raiders. Not like that's not factored into these numbers. Ty Simpson, Ty Simpson is probably going to be a first round pick, and this this feels like the New York Jets option for sure. Where do the Jets pick? So the Jets pick at two. The Jets pick at two, and damn that I completely forgot that they picked at two. That's tough because is Ty Simpson a quarterback that you want to pick at number two overall? Probably not. Probably not, but you might have to. You just might have to. Um, and the combine season, uh, mock draft season is coming up. We will talk a lot more about the draft prospects leading into the combine and leading up to the draft. So I'm not going to get too heavy into Ty Simpson right now, but um, from what I know, what I've seen at this point, definitely not somebody I want to invest the number two overall pick into. But you might not have a choice. You legitimately might not have a choice. It might be mandated from ownership, might be mandated from the general manager, just trying to make a home run pick. Um, yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but might be something that you have to do. So I mean that's four. Yeah, it's four guys, and then after that, you're getting into Kirk Cousins in free agency, and that's more of a Minnesota thing, just kind of a stopgap, kind of a bridge. Does he go back to Minnesota? That's and I mean, I would have thought it was an Atlanta thing, to bridge that gap of Michael Penix being injured, but obviously not. That could be an Indianapolis thing, bridge the gap between Daniel Jones and his injury, because we know that they seemingly hate Anthony Richardson in that building. So it could be an Indianapolis thing, could be a Pittsburgh thing. That is right up the alley of Pittsburgh ownership to get one old quarterback out of the way and pick up another one just to try to be mediocre. So that is definitely something that could happen. But like we all know, Kirk Cousins isn't going to be a long-term solution, not a long-term answer at quarterback. Um, a lot of people are going to say Mac Jones, trade for Mac Jones, but I watched NFL Live, and Adam Schefter has said repeatedly, stood on the table, shouted very robustly, said Mac Jones is going to be a Niner. They want to keep Mac Jones. The price to get Mac Jones would be too high to trade for him because he's under contract for another year. And that's another situation. I mean, who makes that move? Is that an Arizona move? Is that a Jets move? Like you use number 2 on like Arvell Reese, and then you try to trade a 2 for Mac Jones? Like who? I'm not sure who's making that move, given how costly it might end up being because the Niners want to keep him so bad. But yeah, like Adam Schefter like stood on the table and was like, it's not happening. He's gonna be a Niner. And they're like, but what if the price is he's gonna be a Niner? So we will see how that goes. So like again, it's 4 to 5 guys available. Not a whole lot of great options. And then seemingly off the top rope from out of nowhere, Derek Carr might be a possibility to come out of his 1-year retirement. You would have to trade for him because he's still under contract to the Saints. But his name has been floated in the NFL streets, if you will, on social media. I wouldn't touch Derek Carr with a 10-foot pole. And that's just me. Out of everybody we talked about, I'd rather have Kyler, rather have Malik Willis. I'd take Kirk right now over Derek Carr. I mean, Derek Carr retired because of shoulder issues. I don't a year away from the game. Maybe he's healthier. Maybe he's rejuvenated. Not something I'm willing to invest in to find out. If he was a free agent, fine. I'm not giving up any draft capital for Derek Carr to ruin my mood every Sunday. I just wouldn't do it. Just wouldn't do it. If I had to pick between Derek Carr and Tua, just to give you a sense of how bad I don't like Tua, I'd take Derek Carr in that situation. But everybody else, I'd rather draft Ty, have Malik, have Kyler Murray, have Kirk Cousins for a year, trade for Mac Jones, trade for Shedeur Sanders. I don't want Derek Carr. Keep Derek Carr far away from the football teams that I like. So if that gives you any indication about if I haven't been clear enough about how much I dislike Derek Carr, let me know. Let me know, and I will give you more ammunition. But just that, we'll keep it there for now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If there's any teams I missed that need a quarterback, that you feel need a quarterback that I didn't talk about, are there any quarterbacks available? Actually, there is one quarterback I didn't talk about. Since they're going to take Mendoza, what happens with Geno Smith? What happens with Geno Smith? Is that the Arizona move? That feels like actually they get rid of Kyler, bring Geno in. That feels like the Arizona move to me. That feels like the Arizona move. That feels like a Minnesota move. And buddy, don't let me get Geno Smith in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson. I'm not going to shut up about it. Don't let that happen. Do not let that happen because I'm going to get on here and be super annoying. Yeah, I could see it Arizona. I would love it Minnesota. And that's another Steelers option. I don't know what's going to happen with him. I don't know if Clint Kubiak wants to keep him in the room with Mendoza, because I think he would be a fantastic option to keep around Mendoza and be somebody that you learn the game from. But maybe maybe what they could get for him would be enough to let that go, and they keep Kenny Pickett there. They keep Aiden O'Connell. What's his name? Aiden O'Connell. AOC. I know it's AOC. Is it O'Connell? I don't. Yeah, but keep those guys in the quarterback room with Mendoza, because you need some veterans in there with a rookie. And then let Gino go elsewhere. Don't know what they're going to do. It's still early. It's still February. Super Bowl happened still hours ago, really. So not a lot that we know. A lot of speculation, a lot to talk about. Still a lot to see. Free agency is coming. The combine is going to be here soon. We're going to hear a lot of rumors, a lot of hearsay, a lot of everything around the combine, because the whole NFL will be in Indianapolis. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to talking about it. Looking forward to talking about it with you guys. So with that being said, I appreciate you being here again. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and like that video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back here next week. Don't know what we're going to talk about. Something will happen over the weekend. Probably, shift a little bit of focus to some basketball mixed in with the football. But yeah, man, we'll be back here on Tuesday. And until then, I'll see you.